come on. I think so. It says you're telling your followers that you are there. Hello, Daniel. So somewhere should be the option to that you can. There you are. Yep. Go live with you. We are connecting, and there we are. Hey!
Here we go.
Bravo! Hello. Yes, you did it. See, the first time is always the scariest. I remember just trying to find how on earth I was supposed to be able to go live on Instagram. That was difficult enough. So you managed. Hi, Maya. Now Maya is on the. Would be a fantastic guest for one of your podcasts, and actually she does her own podcast as well for Crown for Success, which is absolutely phenomenal. So she's waving. We're waving back. Hello, hello.
Hello, Maya.
So I'm wondering if I can tag a few people or not. We shall see. If not, we are just going to start chatting. I've just been onto Facebook for literally 1 minute to say hello, come and join us on Instagram, which I know they won't mind because, of course, Facebook and Instagram do exactly the same thing. So, all right. Anyway, it will come. It will come. Daniel, tell the people who are listening now and the people who are going to listen later, tell us about who you are and what you do.
Sure, thank you. Well, thank you for having me on this Instagram Live. It's a new adventure for me to be interviewed on Instagram Live, so I'm having fun. And yeah, glad, like I said, I was able to just figure out how to just get in. So here we are. So yeah, I'd love to share about that. So what I do is I help people to get centered and to wake up spiritually, to be able to do the biggest and greatest purpose in the world. So I do it particularly for souls like yourself, Rana, that have a sense they're meant to make a really big impact and a big difference in the world. And so what I'm doing is through my gifts of being able to tune in, which is what I'm known for, being able to really tune into somebody, into their chakras, their energies, and what's happening for you, is to be able to, understand like what is really going on for you on your path as a soul, and to help guide spiritually and energetically, to guide and direct you so that you're focused on the things that really matter, which is letting go, deepening, surrendering to the awakened presence within, so that you can make the biggest difference possible while enjoying, of course, the fullness of presence. My other passion within that, of course, is that I want the light leaders and the world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs, those are the people I help, I want them to make a big impact from the depths. I don't want to just create crazy entrepreneurs that are, radiating all that kind of energy. We're here to wake up. Now is our time, right? I mean, we're no more time. It's no more like theoretical, like, oh man, I think it's time for a shift in the world. Like, I mean, it's on our doorsteps every day, it seems like. And so we're being, kind of compressed right now and asked to wake up. So I'm here to help people with those deeper wounds over the past lives, this life, all that. Tune in, see what's going on, and then also to see their gifts. What's going to light up their life? What is going to bring them this greatest joy? Who are they really? Who are you? And evoking that and bringing that forth, trusting that fully, and rocking your sacred purpose from there. So that's, I hope that kind of answers your question. It's part of what I do. It's not everything, but it's part of it.
Tell me, I know you do so much. Tell me, if you didn't know that you were a light worker, if you didn't think you were spiritual, but you just felt that you were looking in the mirror and you were thinking, God, is this it? Is this all there is in my life? There must be something more. And people just wanting to identify with their purpose, not realizing that a lot of that actually is from a place of the need for deep being and deep purpose. How can you help somebody like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just got done talking to somebody, for example, who's very successful in business and has multiple businesses, but he had got a scan from me and was looking at working with me because of the depth of the way I work with people. And the thing is, you know, there is something more for you, you know, and that's why people usually are bothering to listen to me or to meet with me, because they get a sense like they have certain energetic gifts. Usually that's part of it that they haven't owned, like just the ability to tune in even for themselves more fully. Maybe it starts there. Like, you know, I wish I could connect more. I'm kind of connected, but I wish I could help people with my intuitive gifts more. You know, that's often a thing. I help people for years with learning to do what I do, doing the energy scanning. And I still do that to some degrees. I still help people with that. And so starting is just really looking at, you know, what is that thing that's been burning inside you, you know, for the longest time that keeps on your doorstep you're not trusting, and then helping you to trust that thing to emerge in your life. And whatever it is, it probably is the thing. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's like, oh, I keep feeling I should start this business, and it's like this and like that. And then you go to do it, and then maybe you get redirected somewhere. But it is the next step. It's something you're supposed to give your focus to. What I find is people just keep ignoring the calling to go deeper into their presence, deeper into their purpose, their deeper true purpose, not just the job they've been working, and to realize, like, no, there's more to life. It's not just like, you know, making this money and paying my bills and saying I got a nice life when I'm stressed out all the time. You know, like, to really, like, you can actually trust yourself. You can have a relaxed, joyful, energized, not boring, very exciting life, and do the thing that you really come here to do, and not be buried with pressure. I think that's a big fear in it. Like for light workers, it's like, I might be killed again, or, you know, for stressaholics that don't know if they're light workers, they're like, oh my God, it's going to be more pressure if I have to create some big thing, and then they're worried about that. They want it, but they don't want it. So for me, I'm here to show them another way where you can be relaxed, you can be present, and you can let all the greatest unfold from that place. So that's what it comes to mind when you ask that question.
Okay. If for anyone who's listening, feel free to type any questions you like in the comments, and I will read them out to Daniel. So, you know, you're hearing about what it is he does, this idea of deep surrendering to your purpose, to your passion, and that you don't have to be boring to have a life full of peace and joy. Because sometimes we think, you know, you have to almost live like a monk to be in that Zen place of peace and joy. But actually, you can be crazy and fun like me. You know the mad stuff that I do, right? But I live in a place of peace and joy. And you are a bit mad and crazy and fun yourself anyway. So you're the perfect. You give off that wonderful energy to realize you can have that. So if anybody has any questions, then please do feel free to ask. So tell us a little bit more about the energy scanning.
Yeah, so energy scanning is, the way I do it is, it is just your natural intuitive psychic gifts that we all have at some level, that I have, and but I also learned a specific technique, a way of tuning in that works really well for me and the people I teach. And it's not just, it's more, it is a set of things, a technique, but it's also just kind of guides people into their own way of tuning in ultimately. And so this came to me, like, you know, back in the 2000s, in the late 2000s, this method of tuning in. And so I had experiences of opening up and just like knowing everything, like, oh my God, I'm connected with everything and I know everything. And then the minute you get into it, it's like you get excited and then it goes away, because, you know, and I hear this from my clients that tune into, they say, I get excited, Jesus comes in, and I'm like, woo! And then all of a sudden, whoa, where'd Jesus go? Because you're not grounded, you're not letting it come in. You have doubts and concepts about it. So releasing those and letting it be as ordinary as possible, to be able to tune into people and let it be just first nature. That's the key to people being able to do it, for people that want to learn how to do it. But like, yeah, for me, scanning is just an intuitive way I have of going into people's energies and just knowing all kinds of stuff about what's going on for them and where they are at, and go through the chakras. And I can, I can be psychic, predict the future to some degree. Certainly have an understanding of what might be ready to unfold and the different timelines that are there for you. You know, hey, you go pick this path, this is likely to happen. If you pick this path, this is likely to happen. All that sort of stuff. So that's basically what it is.
And can anybody, because you teach people to do these energy scans, can anybody learn to do it?
Yeah, anybody. And you know, the funniest thing is, I would say historically, like probably at least half of the people or something like that come in either with serious, serious doubts if they can do it, or they literally signed up to work with me to learn how to do it and are already convinced they couldn't. And you're like, I know I can't do it, but I'm going to try anyway. So and then they come in even with no conviction that they could do it. So in some cases, they are able to do it, and then they're flabbergasted. I actually can do this. Wow. And the funny thing is, my students, I've trained, you know, well over 1,000 people probably as far as all my trainings, but more in depth, maybe, you know, hundreds, whatever amount it is. But I certify people and all that. So what happens is people just don't have the confidence. That's all, and we've shut down our gifts. We have these gifts. Many of us had some access to this when we were younger, and then we didn't share it, or if we shared it, people said you're crazy. You know, what are you talking about? So there's this sense of like psychics are weird, so we would never, you know, share things that'd be psychic, right? So we've shut these gifts down, but they're natural, they're abundant, and it's high time that people start owning their gifts. And absolutely anybody can do it. Maybe if you have certain impairments, it'd be really hard, or maybe it isn't possible just because of the impairment. But fundamentally, yeah, I mean, basically 100% of people can do it, especially if you're empathic, intuitive, and, you know, sensitive sort of person. You definitely are going to do real well with it.
Yeah. So I find that even people who join my Meditate with Dance class, and a lot of those people are, you know, they're not necessarily spiritual, and they either might happen to like dancing, or they like the idea of being able to meditate in a different way because they find it difficult to kind of sit still. And especially the ones who've been coming regularly, I've been really working on opening up their psychic powers, because they get almost into trance. You know, if we think about, you know, if you go to a nightclub, and all of them are closed now, but, you know, you go to a club, you take an E, not that I ever did. I pretended to with my friends because they thought I was cool, but they would give it to me and I would just stamp and crush it, in fact, just out of the fun. And then I would like dance like a complete maniac, and they'd be like, yay, Rena's like joined us. And I'm like, actually, no, I haven't. I'm just high on life. I don't need drugs to do it. You know, it's just be very funny. Yeah. But just, you know, like you're in this trance. If we think when you're in a club and you're like going crazy, you are, aren't you? You're kind of, you're in a trance. And of course, when you're in a trance, you can be in any type of trance. You can receive guidance. So sometimes it's about asking yourself the question before you get into the trance. Because when you're in the trance, sometimes when you start asking, your head takes over the thought process again. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, what I tell people when we do the basics, I just tell them, the first thing I say to get a laugh is I say, I have them pair up with people for, like, you know, physically, some are doing a workshop. I'm like, okay, pair up, all right, you're together. All right, just do it. I'm just like, just do it. Like, it's that simple. I'm like, don't tell me you can't do it, just do it. You know, just start telling them what they know, you know about them. And then they all laugh. They're like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, okay, literally, though, if you just actually just start making stuff up that you sense might be true about them, you're going to find you're accurate. You start sharing things you know about them, and it works. It's that simple. It is so simple. Now, the thing about getting training is I can help people to deepen into the sort of thing you're talking about. Like, okay, you ask a question, you deepen, you listen, the answer emerges, right? That's how it works. It's just basic. But even with that, like, then it's optimizing the focus. It's optimizing what are you actually looking for when something comes through. What is it really saying to you? Are you picking up on all the cues? You know, so there's different aspects of it to deepen into your gifts. You know, at first, like for most people, it's like most of the people I've trained, like they're like, I can't. I get a little bit. I don't know if I'm that great, and so I have like I always say, like there's partner A and partner B. You know, I bring them together. They do their scans with each other. I talk to them afterwards. I pull partner A. I've literally done this before. I talk privately to partner A. I say, how did it go? Well, I couldn't pick up on too much, but my partner was amazing. I go to partner B. I say, well, how did it go? Oh, I wasn't able to do too much, but my partner was amazing. And like, and so the truth is people just don't have the confidence. You already have the capacity to do it. So the matter of focusing that capacity, the more you do it, like anything else, your strength in doing it grows. It continues to grow. So I'm stronger at it now than, when I first started doing it. You grow tremendously in so many ways, personally, spiritually, etc., by doing this sort of work.
It is about trusting and surrendering, and it is just like any other exercise. Practice, practice, practice to help you to tune in and to trust, really. So listen, I'll change tack a little bit. So you know that my book is called Women Who Want More. And you and I have discussed the word want before and the word more before. So of course, with me, I coach what I call wantaholics. And we've talked about that in your podcast as well, Rock Your Sacred Purpose podcast. Brilliant podcast. Cannot recommend it enough. It's really good fun. So when we talk about wanting more, and you and I've had this conversation because we worked together and you were my coach. And I said, it's really difficult because the traditional way of manifesting that people talk about manifesting is it's very forced, right? We've talked about how we can force manifestation. You can force anything to happen when you focus your attention on it. But of course, you still get it, but there's almost an element that there wouldn't be as much pleasure as if you allowed it, which is the other way to do it. And I talked to you a lot about this confusion because I can't just decide, oh, okay, I don't know, I want 100 more Instagram followers by next week. Okay, I'm just going to sit here and I've visualized it, so I'm just going to allow it to happen. It doesn't work that way. So there's this conflict, right, between allowing, surrendering, wanting things to happen, but still needing to take action, but that's not force. So what can you say about that? How can you help people to understand how to do that?
Right. Yeah, this subject, like so many other ones, at first it seems like there's such a contradiction. It's so, like, it doesn't work. How could this work that we could just allow? Because you got to take action. And how's that going to happen if you just allow? So I love this subject. So the way it is like most of the people that I work with now are people who have had a run of trying to prove themselves, so they got really good at focusing and manifesting. Maybe they just naturally learn how to manifest because they're just like, I'm manifested. I'm gonna do something in my life. So they accomplish all kinds of things in a career or business, and they've been firing up that willpower, and they've been doing it like that massive action thing. Man, I take more action than everybody. I sit around, I make it happen, and they've had success. What happens is when it's propped up on your wounding, as you know, like eventually what happens is you start getting toasty, you start getting burnt out. It's like that whole thing. Like I talk about like when you start with having accomplishments, you're like, yes, I did that, and then it's like, okay, all right, so you did it, all right. What now? Well, I'm going to do this now, and then I did that, and then you do it, and then you all of a sudden, like, somewhere along the line, it comes to like the 20th, 30th, 40th time, like, I'm going to do that. And I did it. Okay. And then like the 100th time, I'm going to do that.
Pretty exhausting.
And you're just, before you know, you're like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? Every time I do it, I'm happy temporarily, and then afterwards I'm like, I'm nobody. I haven't got anywhere. I got to manifest more. I got to be better. There's people are doing way better than I am. And that's the typical conversation. It's all wound, ego driven to try to be enough. So what happens with the surrender, it's like, it's realizing, okay, this is all just my stuff. This is just my ego. Even if you want to do good things, it's still your ego. So it's like, just letting all of it go. And then when you start letting it all go as a practice, because it keeps popping up again, right? Just like when you try to meditate, whoa, what happened? Something's going on in my meditation, right? But we just keep letting it go, right? We keep deepening into our center. And what happens is when people are willing not to take action, they stop the addiction of desiring and wanting and craving and like, oh, I need it now. And then they let all of that go. magic happens. All of a sudden, the inspiration and the knowing of what wants to happen will emerge. But if you keep just, no, action, 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 you know, eventually that just runs its course. You know, I think about people like even Jim Rohn, for example. He was someone that taught Tony Robbins. He was like the kind of one of his big teachers. And he, you know, he built a huge personal development empire. But later on in his life, you hear his talks, and he's like, yeah, I probably could have relaxed a little bit more. You know, you hear it even from the people who have been pushing all this stuff. Some of them, you'll hear it later in their life. They'll be like, yeah, I could have relaxed more. That's the most common thing Oprah has found of the people she has interviewed. She felt like all of them said they should have relaxed more to the younger self. And that's why won't we relax earlier? You know, relax, have fun, and make more money is what I talk about, because people are interested in all that. You know, you can have a lot of fun meditating and following your inspired action. It's very fun. It's fun to embrace the unknown, too. People say, well, I have to get on it because I don't want to be with the unknown. So let me get on all the known, and I'll make all the things that I want to happen until someday you're exhausted and it's not working anymore. It didn't bring you the satisfaction you wanted anyway. So it's like you start embracing the unknown, and the unknown becomes increasingly your friend. It might be scary, but it becomes your friend. You're like, I don't know what's going to happen for 100%, but I'm here and I'll know when I need to know. And then it does come. And then when you trust that, I've seen my clients take massive action once that clarity comes in. They're like, create bigger projects than they ever would have created otherwise, to bring more impact and the opportunity to make more money. So there's a huge lesson in us slowing down so that we can become inspired for that which wants to come through us. And we're afraid that we can't just trust that, but if you do trust that, it'll work. The problem is when people meditate on the mountaintop, and they get inspiration, they don't do anything with it. That's where the problems come in. So yes, you do need to take action when you get those pulses. You have to move with that energy. Otherwise, yeah, you're just doing a spiritual bypass. That is absolutely true.
Okay, so I have a question. And if anyone listening has questions, please type them in the comments. I'm going to read them to Daniel, and he can answer them at the moment. But Maya has said, you know, she's literally going through this at the moment, so this is really helpful. So obviously, a lot of the time we want to know about the how. So if I take you to a typical example at the moment, and I know some of the people who are listening, they run their own business, they're entrepreneurs. I can see the people who are listening to us right now. So obviously it's a tricky time at the moment, right? It's a tricky time to get people to hear you, to listen, because they're so distracted by the fear. Although I am noticing a shift, actually, again, probably since I surrendered. And people are almost just too busy to listen because they are deep in the doing, in the massive list of regulations and the stuff that they have to deal with and the day-to-day stress. What advice can you give someone on, without having to stop? You know, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to just stop and listen. What are you talking about? Guidance, seriously. You know, I'm too busy. How can people, what tips can you give people to just recognize guidance as it comes? Because obviously when you're really stressed out, you're asking for help, but you may not be physically relaxing to allow it in. So what else could you do?
Well, I mean, practically speaking, I'm going to go into the deep. I'll take people to the deep end first, and then I'll walk it back a little bit for people that aren't ready for that. The truth is, you're never going to feel like you have enough time until you start letting go fully and meditating and being fully present. You'll never feel like you have enough time. You think it's all the things going on that you have to manage. That's not what it is. It's the idea that I don't have the time. So, and the deeper idea is that I'm not supported. I'm not just going to be gifted or given to or have enough of everything I need. Inherently believing in lack. And so you believe there's time lack as well. So you're like, no, there's time lack. There isn't. So you might be challenged. It might seem like there's weight, but you always are a choice. People say, well, I have to do my job. I have to take care of my kids. I have to do this. I have to do that. But the truth is like, you don't have to do them the way you've been doing them. all of that will work out, can work out or be fine, or shift or change for the highest if you just trust slowing down and deepening, doing the meditation, and really following your guidance then that will come in from that place. So I just want to take people to the deep end, into the deep truth that, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help people to understand you can live your deepest truth and it'll work. But you have to commit fully to it like anything else. If you don't commit to it and you're just like, man, I'm kind of trusting and things aren't working still, you haven't gone deep enough. You need to go all the way in, deep, deep into that deep end. And so that's where the real results are going to happen, the deeper results. Now, if you're going to try to just build it up, then you can do that if you want to. All you have to do is just start taking the basics. Take some time just to breathe. Are you even breathing? I mean, just the basics. Are you breathing? So you just check to see if you're breathing throughout the day. Just a simple thing. When your mind gets noisy, which it probably is most of the time if you're dealing with a lot of stress, then it's just a matter of realizing that whatever's coming through that mind is all just totally diluted. It's total delusions. You know, like so little of it is true. Even relatively true, right? So it's like, so we need to recognize, can you observe your thoughts enough to realize that you're insane? It's okay to be insane, like most of the world is. All right, it's okay. We're all a little insane at times. So realize, okay, my mind's telling me all these insane things all day long. They're very convincing, though, so I tend to buy into them, but I don't want to keep buying into it anymore. So it's like just learning, like, oh, I'll just listen, but I'm not going to keep giving it, like, my energy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to kind of observe that I'm having all these thoughts. I'm going to keep thinking, like, that's not, no, cancel or stop or something like that. Like, you give like an order, and you'll find, like, all of a sudden you're quiet. Like, all of a sudden, like, because you just know that it's not true. So, you know, and then another thing I love to do is the Byron Katie process, right? So is asking these 4 questions. So is it true? You know,
so just to explain to people, Byron Katie, is it's just a way of when you identify a belief, Daniel's going to explain what to then do with the belief. Go for it.
Yeah, so if you have a belief that's upsetting you, all you have to do is ask, is it true? Okay, you might say yes still. Most of the time you'll say no. Then you say, can I absolutely know it's true? And 100% of the time, you know, if you're being honest with yourself, you don't. Now, I have seen some tricky people put yes, and then afterwards they put a little thing in, like, fine print. They say, however, I really believe it's true right now. Like, I'm like, it's not serving you. Just say it. You don't know it's absolutely true. Yeah. And then how do you react? How do you react when you buy into it, right? So how do you react? What happens for you? Do you get angry? Do you start overeating again? Or whatever you do? You know, what do you do? And then who would you be without the thought? Who would you be without the thought? Or what would be possible for you if you didn't have that thought anymore? Okay. And it's amazingly freeing. And you start to see everything that's possible for you. Now, you just said everything's not possible for you. Everything is finally possible for you just with flipping, you know, that whole thing around, like, no, that's not true. You start to realize something else is true. And it could be possible right now.
So that's what we feel. We feel it in us, don't we, as an energy shift. It's just like you've taken a cork out of the champagne bottle and suddenly you feel like there can be a free flow, right? So if we use if we use an example, so let's say someone, again, back to the people running their own business at the moment, and they're telling themselves, because of COVID, no clients are paying.
Yeah,
so this is a classic at the moment, right? It's what people are worried, and they're worried about the flow of money, and therefore they don't want to part with money. And we all know that money, of course, money is energy. And so actually, if you're just holding on to the money, it's not going to flow through you because it becomes stagnant, right? So what can you say about let's take a belief about money, and then let's take a belief about the fact that you can't get clients or you can't make your business grow because of what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, you have to say, are the outer conditions? So look at this false belief. The outer conditions of the world dictate my experience. Is that true? For me, it's no right away, right? Can you absolutely know that's true? No. And in fact, there's evidence that it's just the opposite. Those that are willing not to give into that thought during these times are always the people that make the most money and the biggest impact, right? So they make the billionaires and the billionaires in the coming. They're all the ones that are looking for the big opportunities and what's going on. You don't think the people who are selling PPE right now are doing pretty well? You think people who are doing takeout business aren't doing well? You don't think there aren't coaches like making more money than ever before right now? There are. They are. There's people making way more money than ever before because they're focused on the opportunity. You know, when Rena, when you reached out to me, I was talking about coronavirus energy scan. I said, let's do a coronavirus. I'll do one of those. Opportunity. So within a sense of disaster, if you speak to the disasters that are going on or the issues that you think are creating that in the collective, you can actually grow your business amazingly. And for I don't have anybody coming to me right now saying, oh, the economy is kicking my butt. You know why? Because I don't have that mindset. It always works that way. I have no one in my field talking that way because I don't have those thoughts. And if I do, they're like this, just like wisps of the wind that just come and go very quick. I don't have those thoughts. I don't have resonance with that. So if you're resonating with the idea that it's this, that's where the issue is. Then with the energy scan, I'll look deeper to see what's really creating all that for you. Why are you having those thoughts? And usually it comes down to, you know, I wasn't protected as a kid, or I wasn't listened to, or I was never measured up. And it was some outer circumstances. My parents got a divorce, and then I felt like I was hopeless, whatever. I mean, it could be so many things that create this sense of like, I'm not enough, the environment's not enough, it's not supporting me, it's not validating me, it's not going to support me, it's not going to work out, we're never going to make it. So it's so many different things, and that's where the energy scanning comes in, is to tune in more deeply to see what the heck is really going on for you that would be even creating that thought, so we can even get to the deeper root of it to address those things.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So the money thing. So what I'm hearing you saying a couple of things. One is that you don't get those people because obviously when we think about energy, like energy attracts like energy. So because you're not giving out that energy, because you're choosing not to have those beliefs, you're not attracting that energy either. So if we take that onto someone, typically back to the money idea, if they're coming from a place of lack, and how do they know? Like, they may be telling themselves, I'm not coming from a place of lack. That's not true. You know, I love money. Of course I do. But then they look at someone else driving a Ferrari and they feel a sense of jealousy or resentment, or they look at somebody and they think, oh, lucky them. Then that's a clue to themselves that actually they probably are coming from a place of lack, and therefore there's something to work on, right? And then what was question 3? So it's, do you believe it? Do you really believe it? What was the third one?
How do you react? How do you react when you believe it?
Right, so that's the feeling, yeah. And then open yourself up to the possibilities, which is a beautiful way to get people to shift up that level of energy, isn't it, into the energy of manifestation, really, into that energy of possibility, imagining what it would be like if they didn't have that belief, or conversely, if they did have that belief. And then, of course, it all comes down to consciousness and choice of whether they choose to keep the belief or get rid of it, right? It's like plucking out the feelings and thinking, oh, do I want to keep you or not?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That's what we do through the coaching process.
Right. So, I mean, the beauty of all these false beliefs is whenever you have a false belief, almost 100% of the time, it's the truth is actually the absolute opposite. Like, so many of the times it works that way. Oh, there's not enough opportunity. No, there's more than enough opportunity. There's like way more opportunity there's so many opportunities. You couldn't even possibly keep up with all the opportunities you have right now to, thrive in your business. That would be more true in most cases than not. It's usually the opposite is true. And so it's really that's the beauty. When you can start seeing, when you have these limited thoughts, that just the opposite is true, that's where you can do those turnaround type of affirmations. Like, oh, I'm not enough. Oh, I'm more than enough. You just, right on the spot, you just flip it around. Because actually, when I take people deep into their body and their energy, like I have with you, like when we talk to different energies like that that may be going on, we find out it'll say something just the opposite. Like, no, it's just the opposite. And, that same energy, that energy just wants to be acknowledged, heard, and loved. And once it is, and then you start to see what the real deeper truth is, then it can lighten up and like, oh, I don't need to exist anymore. I was just pointing you back into truth. And it's like, ah, oh, yeah, okay, now so much, everything is possible. So doing these practices of meditation, clearing your false beliefs, doing all the work that you need to do so that you can be a clear signal for what you're here to do, that's the work that's needed. And then as you keep doing more, there's always more work to do, so to speak. But it gets easier, you know, but you've got to lay that deep foundation for yourself. And if you can even just start with a few minutes a day, that's fine. A few minutes meditation, one or two false beliefs, you know, anything, any amount consistently done over a period of time is going to make a big difference. And then, you know, you start to realize I could do more. I could do a little bit more. And then you can start to do a little bit more. You start doing less of the things you don't want to be doing anyway. So you end up having a lot of, you always have time freedom anyway, but like you have the experience of like, wow, I'm not so bogged down because I'm not doing like 20 different things that I probably shouldn't be doing. You know, the things that are sucking up my time and energy. I've had people just swear they couldn't fit 5 more minutes into their life until like I had them go through every single thing they do in their life. And they found out they couldn't believe it. They said, Daniel, I'll do this exercise, but I don't believe it's going to work. I have them list everything they're doing in their life and do the whole delegate, change, or delete. And it's amazing, like 50, 60, 70% of what they're doing could go right out the window just like that, you know, or could be given to someone else. And they couldn't believe it. They're like, you're right, I can't believe it. And that's the typical response. People just are caught up in the
yeah, and so often it's the experience, isn't it? It's like a bowl of ice cream. It's kind of like, oh, you know, I don't want dessert, and then you have a bit of the ice cream, and it tastes so good, and then you want to have more of the ice cream and more, and then, you know, and you just keep lapping it up, right? I mean, and obviously I've worked in helping people with behavior change, albeit in health, for 20 odd years, and until you engage in someone's true passion and you tap into what is it that's going to help that one individual. It's never a one size fits all, is it? Which is the beauty of energy. And until you tap into that particular thing, you don't get the energy change. And it's funny, when as working as a periodontist, when dentists would refer patients, they then say to me, Rana, how on earth do you get these results? I'm sure we've been doing the same thing. And strangely enough, it's also about another energy exchange. It's the exchange of money. People have paid for it. So because they've also paid for it, they put a worth on it, a value on it, a bit like the whole sense of enjoyment with the bowl of ice cream. And so when you put a value on something like that, you pay more attention to it once again, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's why I mean, for those that are spiritual light worker type of people, maybe they're wanting to do more of that sort of work. They have this sense of disconnect universally between their spirituality and making money, almost universally. And so you have to realize that you can be. Look, I always say, look at Eckhart Tolle. He's totally present. He's totally spiritual. He's got like tremendous amounts of money coming in. And he's doesn't even care about the money that much. He's just like, well, that's fine. I'll have some of that. And that's the master path of manifestation. It's not all this rah-rah stuff you hear. It is all about letting it be as simple and easy as possible, and it can be. And I've manifested so many things when I've allowed it to be from a surrender place. It's like you don't even feel like you tried. It just does come to you because you let it be that easy. And increasingly, your life can be that way. Now, if you have false beliefs blocking that from happening, that's where the work needs to be done so that the ease in that area of manifestation can happen in your life. So if you have a disconnect between spirituality and money in your business, you need to clear those energies or those false beliefs so that you can trust making money in your business. Because I don't think if you have a true soul desire to make money in your business, you're meant to make business in your money. I mean, there are people that do things for free and whatnot. Most of the time, they ought to be, charging and making more money and all that sort of thing in their business. And in some cases, there are some peace souls that aren't assigned to do that. That's fine, but that's the minority of people on the planet right now. Most people are looking to thrive doing their deepest work in the world, and we have to just clear the concepts around it. I mean, oh, I do spiritual type of work, therefore I shouldn't be making that much money. Well, I mean, why? I mean, it's a gift from God. Well, so is a plumber. A plumber's got a gift from God. A ditch digger has a gift from God. They have a back, they have arms, you know. It's all a gift from God. It's just these concepts that we've created for ourselves. So whatever you do, whether it's you consider it to be spiritual or not, you're meant to thrive, you know, doing it financially because 90% of you want to. I mean, it's true for your soul.
Okay. Wonderful. So let's give some of our listeners something practical. So it's interesting you mentioned Eckhart Tolle, because I've been doing his conscious manifestation course. I just felt like I wanted to envelope myself in 3 months of good old Eckhart and spirituality. And he was talking this week about affirmations, and that he recommends, you know, our affirmations are not just our typical, again, it's about the do versus the do. You know, the surrendering process, so very similar to you, I know, with this idea that if we want an affirmation, you get yourself, again, just with a few gentle breaths, and you get yourself very much into the present, into the now. So you would bat away any thoughts that happen to come to you, and you just allow, so you become conscious of the consciousness. And that's it, that's all there is. And then you bring in the affirmation. And again, of course, with affirmations, we're not worried about the how, it's just the wanting. And some people also suggest questioning within affirmations. So add a question to the affirmation of, you know, how can I receive guidance, or, you know, please provide me with guidance on. But otherwise, it may be something like, you know, I have more abundance, I have prosperity in my life, I have creativity in my life, or how can I accelerate that? And then you either write down those affirmations again and again and again, or you just sit with it in a meditation for, like we said, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and he certainly suggests no more than 15 minutes. So what other practical ideas could you give people who are embarking on this journey of manifesting through the surrender process?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think first is just, again, a commitment to it, because once you commit to it, it'll work. You know, if you just commit to it completely.
The commitment is determining that it is going to work. There is no plan B. This is what I'm not even going to say the word doing. This is what's happening.
Yeah, this is what's happening. I'm going in this direction. And even in the absence of the things that I want to see manifesting in my life, I'm still committed. And that's what gets everybody, you know, like whether you're even manifesting the other way, you know, like either way, like when the results aren't happening, people say, oh my God, it's not working. What should I do now? And then that just slows down the process. It'll slow down the process typically. Now, you know, you might be able to, I mean, some people work well that way sometimes to temporarily freak out and they figure some stuff out. But if you really want to go deep and really manifest most effortlessly, you even let go of all that. And it's just like, oh, okay, I'm totally fine without the sense of manifesting any of it. And that you just, because that's what the impulse that the people listening are wanting more than anything. Whether you realize it or not, you want spiritual, full awakening, enlightenment. That's what you want. What is that? That means that you're happy for no reason. Right? As Marcy Shimoff talks about. You're happy for no reason. You don't need any outer manifestation to be absolutely blissed in and totally just fulfilled, totally fulfilled. And it just so happens everything else will come with it. But only when you completely fast yourself from the concerns of manifestation. In other words, you could still have concerns to see some good things still, but I'm saying like to the degree that you fast completely, you'll see greater things. That's why Eckhart Tolle has seen so much, because he fasted completely, you know, completely as possible. And that's where he's manifested so completely on that level, and yet it doesn't matter to him. He could lose all his money tomorrow, he won't care. That's how, because I know someone that knows him that published his first book. He says, I tell you, he's a friend of mine. If he loses everything tomorrow, he'll be just as happy. He doesn't care. So that level of detachment is huge, and there's some meditations to do to get to that place. There's some coaching. There's some clearing of some stuff, you know, so you can allow that. Or maybe you do. Maybe you spend a few months on a mountain and it happens for you. But yeah, everybody's got their own path. So I'm saying somehow that has to be addressed so that surrender is really as complete as possible. And it's an ongoing process for most people.
And it is a beautiful place to be when you really do let go and you just allow and you just surrender and you just think, oh, you know what, I give up. I believe that this is going to happen and I give up. I just stop trying. And I, like you, I've experienced so much. And I feel like someone's just shot me. I didn't have to climb the mountain at that point. Someone's just shot me up in the cable car, and I'm just, you know, joyful when that happens. So listen, we've got about 10 minutes left. What would you like to demonstrate? Would you like to take people through a quick meditation, an energy scan? What would you like to do? Or if anyone listening has any suggestions, please ask.
We've promised energy scanning, so I do want to offer that to people if they want to receive it. So if anybody would like me to tune into your energy briefly to give you some insights to what I see for you right now, what's going on for you, and for your money and your purpose. Those are the two that usually people are really interested in with me. So
yeah, we've got one. We've got one here, which is my lovely friend Taz. Taz, do you have the option to ask to join? Because she's put a comment in, and I'm wondering if I can. If you ask to join on, then we can bring you on. Is that how it came up, Daniel, before? You could tap a button that said ask to join?
I think you asked me to come on right away or something, or I requested to come on. I know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just start pressing stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, she's saying how.
If they know how to come on, great. Otherwise, for today, we could just kind of just do the scan. But yeah, I can check into it. But otherwise, we can keep it moving.
Okay. I mean, otherwise, I can have a look at your buttons on the bottom, because I think it says you can ask to join, or you can't, and then it comes up with a request where I then say, "Yep, come on with us." Let me see if I can bring you on. Hide live video. No, it doesn't let me do it. If not, Taz, I'm going to pass your details to Dan. And would you be happy to do a 10-20 minute scan with her at some point?
Sure, I can do it.
Yeah.
Well, I can do it now. I don't need them to be on, actually.
Okay.
I've done energy scans with people that have themselves logged into this XYZ before, so it's not a problem.
Perfect. Great. Well, she's on. Do you want to know anything about her?
No, I don't need to know anything. That's the beauty of it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so Taz, I don't know if you'll resonate with the things I share. I just ask you to stay open and curious, and maybe take some notes if you can. Otherwise, just take it in. What I'm getting is I'm definitely getting the energy of being like an earth angel, you know, like comes in for you. So that's the first thing I get. I also get the signature of being an energy healer, but the thing, so in other words, you have that in you. I'm not saying you do that already, or you're aware of this. I don't know, maybe you already do it, but like I do see some energy that kind of takes you out of this alignment of doing that. And it feels like there's priorities. Like I get a feeling, I don't know if it's kids or something, but like I get a sense of like, oh, I can't focus. I can't focus on some of this stuff. Something's pulling at me. So I keep feeling this pulling energy. So I get a little bit of that. So I feel like you're putting out fires is what it feels like. Oh, there's another, I got to take care of this. I got to take care of that. And then like you're this earth angel that could be like, really supporting people very deeply in whatever you're doing, and you do that, but like you can never really fully actualize this potential because there's too many fires to put out is what it feels like. So in your upper field of your energy, I'll just say like in your crown chakra, there's doubts, there's confusion. You tend to try to think things through is the feeling I get with you. So let's think this thing through now. Let's be sensible. So that's how it comes to me. Let's think this thing through. Let's be sensible. but at the same time, you have a sense of your intuition, and it's a quick intuition. Maybe kind of is strong, but it also feels like it kind of comes out of the blue a little bit for you. Like all of a sudden you'll just be like, oh, I know something. I'm aware of something. So I'm noticing this, but I get a feeling like you've been, harmed in. I will just say this: past lives, for doing spiritual work, and so this is a very common one I see. See your body laid out on the ground, like maybe you. I don't know if you're run over in a past life as well, but I see a lot of persecution in past lives. So this keeps you feeling like, I got to take care of people, I got to take care of things, I got to make people happy, and then everything's going to be okay. And you tend to wear the smiley face is what comes to me too. So you put on the smiley face, and and deeper down inside, you're kind of really frustrated and maybe kind of angry, about the way things are going at times, and why aren't more people being more supportive of you. This is just what comes to me. Now, your throat chakra expression is wobbly, so you can articulate yourself, but you'll try to be, like I said, you're with the people pleasing and stuff. That will keep you off track. So it's like, well, I kind of feel like this, but hey, I also feel like that. So it's like you're a peacemaker. You're like, I can see it your way, and I can see it your way. Let's get together. So that often comes from family stuff too. So there might have been something in your family where there's chaos, and maybe you played a peacekeeper role. So I get that. Your heart is beautiful. Your purpose is to help people experience. I feel more peace, the peace that you're looking for. I feel that's part of your purpose, is bringing peace into people's lives. But yeah, you're very smart. I feel like calculation energy, and I see the fingers going like this. So you've got a lot of energy and stick to itness and commitment. So that's not an issue. But the power center is like congested. There's like a sense of over efforting it. So everything is. You might not say it's too hard, but like it feels like it's too hard. When I'm like, oh, that feels so hard. So I feel that in the power center. And then the sacral chakra, you like fun. I mean, that makes sense if you're hanging out with Rana at any level, right? So you're in the fun tribe. So I get that, but yeah, it gets suppressed, and you feel like I feel some down energy, because you want to have more fun, and there's too much going on. So yeah, and then the grounding of your being is kind of there a little bit, but again, I feel like things just take you offline. So anyway, I could go on and on. I don't. I think I'm kind of feeling like that's about the place to kind of pause. And then she says, "Wow, so true." And then she gives us the science. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah,
grateful to share. I didn't really get into the money stuff, but the money will feel like you're running good. We've got enough, man. We're taking care of business. Oh my God, we need more money for that. Oh, that's what it feels like. So we got to keep coming up with the money. You keep chugging along, but it gets exhausting. So I didn't quite mention the money. So that's the one thing I do get on the money right away. So anyway, this is a sample. If you guys want to get more in depth with me, you can always go to my yoursacredpurpose.com website to get more.
yeah. That's beautiful, Daniel. And Taz is such a beautiful soul. Actually, she really is. You really connect with her energy. She's just there to help so many people. And she doesn't, she leads, but she leads without taking control. And in other words, not in a dominant way, but in a beautiful, progressive way. She's fantastic. So that's brilliant. So that's a little taster. So yes. So how can people connect with you, Dan?
Yeah, again, if you want to connect with me personally, you can do that at yoursacredpurpose.com. There is, like I said, an application to get a full energy scan consultation with me, where we can talk, interact, and I can tune in more. And then also there's a free meditation, a meditate and make money meditation there, where it opens up your chakras, and then it just guides you to tune in and to get those answers to your questions. I ask questions, and then you tune into your guidance and whatnot, And this alone is helping people to grow their business. I have one person in particular that's been doing it like once and twice a day sometimes for months, and she keeps going, and she says her business keeps growing through just doing that one practice alone. So, so check that out. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com. Both of those things are free.
Okay, wonderful. And then, of course, you're here on Instagram on Your Sacred Purpose, and you have a Facebook group as well. Rock Your Sacred. Yep.
Yeah, Rock Your Sacred Purpose here. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And your podcast as well, which they can find through your website.
Yeah, it's on the blog area. So Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Yes.
Exactly. One last question from Taz before we have to go. Do you have special powers? Well, you know what, we all have special powers, but really from childhood this came to you, right?
I always felt I've always felt very intuitive, but I would have never thought that about myself at any point until like way into my studies of metaphysics and everything. Eventually I got, oh, this is intuition. I guess that's what it is. Like, but yeah, I've always had these capacities and utilized them to some degree. And some people, I mean, yeah, a lot of people just say that I have an extra gift for it. That's all. So, but anybody can do it. And when I read other people's testimonials of their energy scans, my students that do it, they read a lot like mine. So everybody can do this sort of thing, and we all have our own special powers, like you said, Rana.
And it is again, it's into that the commitment is the first step, isn't it? It's committing to anything. And again, on my website, the free download is meet your higher coach or your higher self, which again is about tapping into your intuition and receiving a message of guidance on a daily basis. Just making that commitment, just like brushing our teeth for, well, we would say 4 minutes a day rather than 2, but just make that commitment to do your meditation 15 minutes a day. Even do it before you go to bed, but just sit up in bed rather than lie down. And then it's amazing how you find the time once you start to see the benefits, right?
Yes. You just want to do more, but I can't wait to meditate again.
Yes, so just commit. It's so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you've still got quite a long day ahead of you. It's 10 o'clock here now in the UK, so yeah. we are tuning out. But it's been so much fun, and this is going to stay up for the next 24 hours, I think, on my story, and we'll see what we can do about sharing it elsewhere. Daniel, thank you so much. Lovely to see you.
Oh, thank you so much, Rana. I'm so grateful for you having me today, and so grateful for everyone that's been tuning in. And just trust. Just go for it. You know, whatever it is, just say yes to your yes. As people say, it does work out. You know, I'm living proof. Went from nothing and like just total money devastation to multi-six-figure business and joy and spaciousness and all the rest, all the trimming. So, and if a shy guy like me, an introvert like me, can do it from the background of depression and anxiety and everything else, everybody can do it. Everybody can do this stuff. So.
Everybody, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Love and blessings to everybody, and to you, Dan. Take care.
Okay, much love.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.